Welcome to the J-Train Podcast. This is J-Train Jared Freid coming to you live from the quarantine cabin on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. We are here Mondays and Thursdays with your emails, your stories, your questions. I say it every episode. Let me say it again. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for telling a friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's how it all works. You tell a friend, a coworker, a brother, a sister, a mama, a papa, anyone with ears. And then they tell a friend, a sister, a brother, a sister, a mama, a papa. And that's how it goes along. We don't got billboards. We don't got commercials. Just you. Word of mouth, baby. That's how it all works. So keep on telling a friend. Thank you for telling a friend. Tag them. I'm putting up stuff on Instagram. Tag a bitch. Do it. Let's get into it. I'm also Patreon. 3 additional episodes of a podcast a week. And they're different. They're not just like this one. 3 podcasts a week for $5 a month. That's what they call a deal. For the price of a cup of coffee, you can get some moments of getting your brain on the shelf. That's what we do here. Put your brain on the shelf. Let's talk about the stupid things in life. That's what it's all about. Very excited. Oh, also, live shows. Go jaredfreid.com, jaredfreid.com. Going to be Hasbrook's Heights, New Jersey, Atlantic City. That's coming up. Long Island. We were in Portland. We've done it. We're trying out here. So, Quarantine Distance, Quarantine Squad, get them together. Very excited about today's guest. I am a fan. She's the head of production for The Ringer. She's got a podcast called Bachelor Party as well as The Ringer Dish. Juliet Littman, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
I have a lot of questions based on your intro for you.
Please.
What's it like doing quarantine shows?
So the shows have been...
COVID shows, not quarantine, obviously.
The COVID shows have been fun. I think a lot of people... Again, we take precautions. There's like half capacity, 25% capacity. The country, I've said it a few times on this podcast, is very much like Europe now. Every state has its own vibe and has its own rules. And, you know, I tend to think the Uber drivers in every town kind of let you know what that vibe is.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel less pressure to have good jokes with fewer people or more pressure because there's inherently fewer laughs?
I feel more pressure. I don't feel fewer laughs because I listen.
You black out up there? Just don't pay attention?
I black out. I don't listen to them at all. None of this is call and response at all. None of it. No, well, some of this in the beginning, when we were doing shows in backyards and on street corners, and that this is kind of like going back from which I came. Mm-hmm. So like I'm used to.
Quaint.
Yeah, I'm used to I've started doing open mics, and I would do any show anywhere. I'd be doing shows in bars for 3 people. So I'm like, this is just what the situation is. You just have to adjust your levels of like, okay, this was outside. This was good. I felt the vibe is good, and bad and good are just different than they used to be.
Sure. Okay.
So I think that's a part of it. But also, you know, people are, I do feel pressure for the show. I always feel pressure for the show to be a show. Because I am not, you know, Jerry Seinfeld. So and to a lot of people, there's no such thing as a middle class comedian. So it's either famous and I know them, or they are not funny. What are you bringing me to? So I know a lot of people are taking their friends out for their first time. They're getting out of the house maybe for the first time. So the pressure on me is I don't want anyone to come out for a show that they're not sure if they should be out, the social ramifications. So I'm there to sing, dance, and dust. So
gotcha.
But I do have COVID related material. I'm not a political comedian, but everything is in the world of COVID. So it has to be addressed. It has to be talked about. I have my own things to say about it. And generally the response I've gotten has been very thankful, where it's like, man, we were seated down. We were at a table with people we were comfortable with. We were socially distanced. We were at something that we haven't been able to do in a long time. So it's been actually genuinely felt good.
Okay.
Are you leaving? Well, I know you're in New York as well. You're in Brooklyn.
Correct.
With things closed up here, it's like, it is tough to understand. Like I leaving New York, you get you're like, you know, I go to Raleigh and I'm like, man, they're out, and here it's a little different. How has your experience been? What's going on with you?
I've almost entirely been in Brooklyn. I have been on Cape Cod as well.
Love the Cape.
Me too. Love it. And I was in Los Angeles for a short period of time as well. So I haven't really been like out and about, but like I and like really uncool. So the things that I like to do in New York are still readily available, like go for long walks and like go to parks. And like I was really excited that a new grocery store opened a few blocks away and I got to be one of the first customers. So
perfect. Is it Wegmans?
No, it's just a food town.
Okay.
But I just like...
Not even the cool one.
No, I told you I'm really uncool. I don't even like cool grocery stores. So, I'm doing it big. I'm pretty happy. It's like, it's all good. And then Cape Cod is like really nice. Just go for a walk on the beach. Go get some seafood or whatever.
Well, that's kind of like then the idea, like everyone like leaving the city, going to their, whatever beach or whatever, family property they have. That's been kind of like the part where you go, okay, like we're all in this together. It's like, yeah, let me in your pool with you. Like I want to, we're not in this together. But
totally.
I've done that where I've like, let me get out. There's an urge for me to do a road trip during this for whatever reason. This summer, my girlfriend and I were like, let's get in the car. And the minute we got in a car, it felt good. Like just to be going somewhere. I think
I drive around a lot. Like a lot. I'm just like, cool, I'm going to drive to Target or I'm going to just drive to the beach for like 40 minutes and then come back. But living in LA, that's like a really normal thing to do. Just like go to the beach for 40 minutes and then leave. So I don't know. I think I've been thriving in COVID. I'm going to be honest.
I got to say, there are people that are like, man, this is how I was living before. I don't know, like calling it quarantine. I guess we'll call it that, I do understand that. Like, and also sometimes it's like the strange thing it's COVID and quarantine and kind of the setup of things has been kind of a relief for a lot of people where it's like, oh, the FOMO is gone. The idea that like I should be doing blank is alleviated a little bit, right?
I feel that way more intensely because it's like because when people are like hanging out together on Instagram, you're like, well, why wasn't I invited? Or like, how did they make that happen or whatever? I think it's way more FOMO actually because you don't you don't really have the option to like opt out of plans where like if you opt out, you're like, whatever, I don't need this. But then if you see that people have plans and you weren't invited, it's really hard for them to make plans. So they put a lot of effort into it. And you're just like, what the fuck? Where was my invite?
How did I get left out of the corn squad? I understand that. I guess there's the idea of like, who are the 9 people that can come over tonight? And it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. I've heard in general, there's of all ages and levels of life, there's a lot of drama over like who is and is not in your pod. Like who are the people that you're seeing? Who have you cut out? Who's not trustworthy? All this kind of stuff. It's
the MySpace top 10 all over again. We're brought back from which we came,
I joined MySpace in 2006 so that I could friend people who appeared on the television show Survivor. And that was the extent of my MySpace activity, but I was excited.
Just you and Boston Rob just
he wasn't on that season. It was it was when Yul Kwan won. It was really good. It was Cook Islands. It was a good season.
I felt so. You have a love of reality TV that I have as well. What's kind of your first reality TV show that you were like into?
Road Rules.
Is it Road Rules? Just in
Northern Trail. That was my favorite. That was like my entree into like, wow, this is crack. I love this shit.
So what about it do you think it is for you?
Whew. Well, I think there's 2 different pieces of reality TV. One is it's like total fantasy, like with The Bachelor and Bachelorette. Like I think a lot of women who watch were like, well, if I were on this show, here's what I would do. And
how would I play it?
Yeah, exactly. What, all of this stuff. And I think with Claire in particular, she's a funny Bachelorette for many reasons. Or she was, but like Claire just says so many things that women think, but like would never say. But like Claire just says them. Like I'm still dying over when the guy she had him leave because he didn't Google her. She's like, so what do you know about me? And he didn't know anything. And that was like my favorite Claire moment because it was just the kind of thing like everyone does that, right? Like everyone Googles each other, stalks the shit out of each other, and she just like expects it. Like that's like her baseline. And this guy, first of all, didn't do it, and then second of all, like didn't even want to pretend that he did. That was really funny.
It was an interesting moment because I kind of, there's a piece of me like I love the idea of Claire as the lead of The Bachelorette, but there's things that Claire does as far as some of the. I do think that a lot of these Bachelor contestants, Bachelorette, like the people that they are very much in the follower economy of things. So
Yeah.
like they are very hell bent on, how did I get here? I'm going to keep riding the horse that got me here. And I think Claire's moment, the Juan Pablo moment, got her an element of street cred that again, what women wish they could say or wish they had said, the thing you say in the mirror after an argument happens. And she said that. So like, I think it seems to me that she's gotten thousands of DMs over the years of like, you are my spirit animal. And now she's letting that spirit animal fly. And there's moments where it's like it works. And then there's moments where it kind of doesn't work for me. I think like, again, like with her, what you said about the audience is so true. Like, how would I play it? Like, I'm a fan of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, but I'm a fan of the audience as well. Mm-hmm. Like how they react to things. The audience is his own character to me.
Yeah.
And
yeah, totally.
Like you watch that, like the Peter's mom thing was so interesting.
Barb. Yeah.
People hate Barb, but I'm like,
yeah, but
Barb exists to me. Like
Barb is real.
Barb is a real character of a person. Like that's a Jewish mom with two sons. Like,
sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand that overprotective, that woman disagreed with our values. That is my teaching on my son. Now I hate, and then when I saw this is inside back. If there are people that listen to the show, Barbara is the mother to Peter.
Yeah.
And former bachelor. And she didn't you could tell she had picked a favorite in this whole thing at the end and then made it clear that she doesn't like Maddie, loves Hannah. But then you saw the dad in the crowd reacting to all this, and you could tell that was a dad that knows this happens all the time.
Yeah, he was just like, let's just keep it moving. This will pass. I've seen the show before.
Yeah. And so I with Claire, there is I kind of felt like, did you think people were on board with Claire from minute one?
No, definitely not. People hate Claire.
Yeah.
And I don't hate Claire. I just kind of thought she was funny. The thing that I've been thinking a lot about, and I don't quite remember, life on the internet, time collapses. But so Claire was on the show, I think in 2013, and when she was on Juan Pablo season. I don't think slut shaming was a common term then, but
no, maybe not. Yeah,
if it was, everyone would have been like, how dare he slut shame her? And I think it would have been a really different narrative for Claire had she come along a little bit later.
Sure.
So,
well, I think that's the case also. I wrote that before the season, in the preview, I wrote a preview for the season. I was basically saying she missed it's almost like she was pre-Me Too movement. She could have been the mascot for it, a certain version of it.
Sure. What does Me Too have to do with it?
Well, I think the idea of women supporting other women, the idea of labeling someone as a slut shamer, she would have had more of a support system, an audience, her social media following would have been more powerful as far as why they were there for her.
Yes, that's true. I mean, I think there's a lot of sexual equity problems with The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and Me Too is a lot about power, and who has power, and very specifically in the workplace. I think with Claire, there would have been a very different response to her just kind of speaking her mind. And now, because she's been painted as old, it seems like an old woman thing to do, and old 39,
Sure.
instead of empowered or whatever. So it's been fascinating. I'm curious to see how the rest of the season with Tayshia goes. It's just been a ride. But I will say, that was one strand of reality TV fandom is imagining yourself in it. Another piece of it is watching these closed systems, and that's why Road Rules and Real World is so good. Is because and still a lot of shows now Love Island, Big Brother, all of them. These people who were inclined to go on TV in the first place, so they have an exhibitionist streak in them, depending on how big it is, are then subjected to isolation and just kind of everything feels so intense. And I think that I get made fun of a lot of this, but I bring up summer camp a lot in my podcast. I think if you ever had an experience where everything feels so heightened in a really condensed period of time in a fixed system, you just gravitate towards it. And I really think that a lot of my love of reality TV is because it's watching camp. So without
I as a summer camp, as a former summer camp person myself, and as someone who's worked at a summer camp, I totally understand that completely. Like the storylines only exist in that world.
Yeah.
And you either get it or you don't. And it's like it is very, very similar.
Yeah, like on TV, it's like an awesome escape. And I just like I've always just thought like being on a reality show seemed like super fun until not. But I don't know. Did you watch Road Rules?
I would get in and out. Like I'm like a taster with a lot of these things. Like sometimes I'm trying to think of like Real World. I got into certain seasons, like the Vegas season I was in.
Wow, which Vegas one? The first one with Alton.
The first
Erlen?
one.
Iconic.
Yeah. That's like the one.
Yeah, it's a turning point in the history of the genre.
Yeah, like when that. But then I think around college, I like fell out of it because like college and
college. You don't watch TV. You watch sports, and that's it.
Sports and getting drunk, and you're your own TV show. And then
college is the time for daytime TV.
Oh yeah. Well, like college is like when I'm like literally like Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser are my parents. Like
of course, yeah.
Like I'm going to them.
News of the day. There's some ticker on the side.
Exactly. Like I get my taste. I get a half hour of normalcy where I don't feel like I'm a jerk for drinking all week, and then it's like okay, now we're back to it. But that's the Road Rules. I guess I don't have memorable things with it. I guess I have like. When Road Rules Real World became a competition, that's kind of where, like, when CT is on Road Rules.
Sure, so challenge, yes. Yeah. Great stuff. But he's a legend.
I do like what you said about Claire being the older bachelorette. I don't know if that made her more... Because I've been thinking a lot about that, and I've been hearing the response from people. People do not like her being considered old or older, it feels like. And I get that, but and also like for the show, they've used to have 23-year-old women. So in the context of the show, it makes sense. But it feels like that kind of like made it more real for people. Did you ever get that?
Yeah, I think that just making it her age such a talking point is like just off-putting. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's like negative for the show and for her. I don't know. I've found it weird. And also because she had like a fight over it. I don't know. It just was like it's just like, what are we supposed to do with it? It's like a fact.
I know.
Claire's 39. It's not interesting. There's nothing to analyze. Just like and then if you do try to analyze it, it's just like kind of becomes mean spirited, and I'm certainly mean, but it's just like it's just not interesting. Someone's age is not inherently interesting. Yeah,
I almost wanted like the Bachelorette to be older, but with like a divorce in their past or like kids. Like, I don't know how that would like make the show more different or more like, it's almost like they did the age thing to me. Like, I agree. It's like, doesn't become interesting, but it's also like, it can't just be that. It's gotta be like lived life. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have that feeling with that season. And I hear what you're saying, because I get that feedback where it's like, it feels like it made it just not fun for some people watching.
Sure, yeah. I think Claire's just really divisive. I enjoyed the Claire days, and I'm happy they're over.
Well, I'm happy you're on the show. This is exciting for me.
Thanks
I'm the fan of the Ringer and the Ringer universe, and you were at Grantland before. I'm a fan of the Bill Simmons universe. So this is very exciting for me to have you on. So I really do appreciate it. And I want everyone to go follow Juliet and the things she does. Bachelor Party podcast that comes out directly after the show and on Thursdays. And then she also has Ringer Dish on Tuesdays, which is just about celebrity pop culture stuff. So that's in the wheelhouse of this show, the wheelhouse of taking your brain, putting it on the shelf, enjoying something that's a little different, a little lighthearted, a little light-spirited. And let's get to the emails. You ready?
I'm so ready. Ready.
Let's do it. jtrainpodcast@gmail.com, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com.
I like how you say that, like you're on a radio show, like someone's perhaps just tuning in. Like,
listen,
they don't know what they're listening to.
As a podcast listener myself, I understand that these are bookmarked shows. So I have put a bookmark into a podcast I'm listening to come back to. So to me, these are moments to go, oh, the emails are starting.
Pause.
I'll have lunch, or I'll go to my meeting. Like, and also, I do believe like my life in the podcast universe is to be energy and fun.
All right, let's turn it up. I'm ready.
And let's turn it up. And there's already the Sipping Coffee podcast where I learn about someone's life. Let's scream and yell about dating for a minute.
All right, I'm ready.
Meeting the parents and going to Hooters with them. Jared Feather, I'll get right to it. Last weekend, I went to visit my boyfriend of 18 months out of town and got to hang out with his dad for the second time and met his stepmom. Everything was great, but the only weird thing that happened was that they took me to Hooters to watch the Dodger game and other football games. What is your take on this move? For the record, my boyfriend wasn't the one who suggested it, and his parents were joking about going there or Buffalo Wild Wings. My boyfriend and his dad weren't ogling the girl over the girls, and I feel confident about my look/relationship. Overall, it was a good time, but wanted to ask, what does it mean if his parents wanted to take me there? Does it make me a bad person that I think it's a little sleazy? Side note, we had gone to other nice restaurants and went to Topgolf, so this was just a one-off excursion. Best regards. So what do you think, Juliet Lippman? It's interesting.
I first like that it was signed Best Regards. It's very courteous.
We have very nice listeners. They're a good group of people.
I have more questions than answers on this.
Okay.
I need to know what the other options were outside of Hooters and BW3. Like, are there any other sports bars in like a 30-mile radius? Because if the answer is yes, then I'm a little concerned. I don't like wings. So
okay.
I can't really weigh in, but I have heard the wings at Hooters are very good.
Sure,
and so
sure.
if they're choosing between Buffalo Wild Wings and Hooters, it might have been a real culinary decision.
Yeah, I the wings do come into play in this email.
Yeah.
As much as that seems like it's a ridiculous thing.
No, it's real.
It's real because being a choice between two wing spots,
yes.
other than the attire of the waitstaff at Hooters and that it is Hooters, like to me, this is like what, so again, we're going to do like this. Here's what the thing I hear in the email the most is I went to visit to go hang out with his dad for the second time and his stepmom. So who's in control of this dinner situation?
The dad.
The dad. So, and it's like not the stepmom, I'm saying if it was mom and dad, the mom goes, we're not fucking going there. Like, you know, like there's an element of like the stepmom might feel like that's not my son. That's not my, you know, I can understand where she kind of backs off, let dad take the wheels. And then dad's like, I want wings. Wings means Buffalo Wild Wings or Hooters. There's no other
options.
No other options. This is like, so like, as far as like thought process is concerned, there's a piece of me that goes, okay, this is all of this feels very male to me. The sun is coming. Games are on. We want wings. 2 wing places. Like, I don't think he looked at her and was like, well, she's a Hooters type of chick. Like, I want to believe in the good in people, and the good in this guy is that he is, right? Doesn't there, like, can you see how that...
Well, it's funny. You just said something that I also remarked on in the email, which is it never occurred to me that like this choice would be reflective of your listener, this lovely, courteous writer in any way. But she was like, well, I'm confident about my look, so that's not an issue. And you said like, you know, the dad's not trying to imply anything. As a woman, it didn't even occur to me that would like be a part of the equation that's like sending a message of some kind.
Well, that kind of feels like her questioning.
It's like her read on it. Like, is this saying something about me? And I just want to say to your reader, absolutely not. This is all about the dad. Don't take it personal. Also, if you feel that you don't want to spend time with this dad again, I don't blame you. It's weird. It's just weird.
Well, this is one of those things that I think is emblematic of a lot of trips people are going to be having soon. You're going to be going to someone else's house where everything is politicized now. So like you're like Hooters is fine. That's a funny topic to talk about, but this could be anything where you're going to have to go notice it, see it. Okay. You have to let your partner know, hey, that was I can't believe we went to Hooters. Like, I think this is something to say to your boyfriend. Like, hey, can we go somewhere else next time? Like, I think that's respectful that you, like, I like that she went. She was like,
good guest.
Go with the flow. You're a good guest. But again, this is like a lesson in class. Like, people are going to be bringing significant other home where you might not agree with the dad who is the loud, oofy, we have wings, we get Hooters, like, guy. Like, I think there is lessons to be taken from this where it's like, hey, I think you should let your boyfriend know that was weird.
Yes, agreed. Tell your boyfriend so that like not like his dad doesn't come between you.
Yeah, and it's like, and the boyfriend should respect your feelings on it. Like, I think your boyfriend has to look at you and go, yeah, that's my dad being, you get into like learning about your boyfriend, you get to learn about the family dynamic. Like, this is kind of an entree into how close you're getting with his world.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just curious. I've not been to Hooters, so I'll just say like my primary association with it is the film Big Daddy, in which in which Leslie Mann plays a character who was once a waitress at Hooters.
Yeah.
So like that's like what I'm just like sitting here thinking about Adam Sandler. Like, what do you think of with Hooters?
One time I went for my parents' anniversary with them.
Really?
Yeah. They were like, "We're gonna."
Was it your dad's choice?
I think it was like a funny thing in the moment, but also I think we were like out doing something else, and it was just there. But I do remember going. So like I do remember like the wings are good, but I've also they're like the type of buffalo sauce that like and fried. They're
like
the type
orange,
of fried,
very orange,
and like the type of fried that you're like, I can't even say I had protein. Like, like it's more fried than wing. Yeah. But I would say like, I wouldn't begrudge anyone for working there. I do begrudge some. There is an element of like, I do understand where she was like off put by it.
Of course. It's weird.
Like, it's weird.
It's a sexualized restaurant, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
It's like a sexualized experience with your boyfriend's dad. It's super weird. We don't blame you. Just let your boyfriend know how you feel.
Letting him know how
get through it.
Totally agree. Letting him know how you feel, I think, is an important thing, because it's, again, there's going to be people going into family situations where it's like, need to make sure he knows that this is part of I'm not like mad about it. I think it's easy to get mad. I think it's easy to be like, it's a little difficult to be like, I'm not mad about it. I understand it. I just need you to understand it.
Right. I really like this reader, though. She seems lovely. I wish her the best in this relationship.
With all of the readers here, with all the listeners here, they all have a sense of, hey, I like anyone that goes, is this weird? Like, I like that person.
Yeah.
We are sponsored, people. The J Train podcast is brought to you by Noom. Getting in shape isn't just about losing weight. It's about learning healthier habits and feeling better about yourself. Maybe it's getting into your goal genes or having more stamina or just treating yourself better. What if you could use one app for all of that? No more hunting for training apps, workouts, or calorie trackers. There's a new app called Noom that will help you develop a healthy lifestyle for years to come. Their whole thing is about learning, not dieting. They want you to build better habits. I will say this. As someone who struggles with weight stuff himself, I've been using the Noom app a lot for the calorie tracker. That is just a piece of the pie of what they're doing. And I have to say exactly what they wrote in their copy. It's about learning, not dieting. I now know what the calories are. It's not guessing. It's not, now I know. Okay, and I'm more aware. Okay, this piece of chicken is this much. If I make it this big, it's going to be that much. If I have, I can have as much arugula as I want, and it's, 20 calories, and the volume versus the calories. And this is all important because it's not about changing every single meal. I'm going to be bad. I'm going to have meals that I'm not going to like, thinking about 2 days from then. But I'm going to be more knowledgeable. And I'm going to know awareness of what I'm eating. And on the Noom app, you can get get tailored lessons, log the food you eat, and learn a new lifestyle. Noom helps you change your habits, develop a new relationship with food. Noom is based on psychology. And that's what I'm talking about. This is all psychology stuff. Understanding what you're putting in your body and the weight of it. The way you think about food is important. Learn through personalized courses how you can replace your old habits with healthier ones. No food is good or bad. Noom teaches you moderation. Noom takes a human approach. There's no judgment. It's all about staying mindful and doing what you can every day. At Noom, small steps lead to big progress. Sign up for your trial today at Noom, Noom.com/JTrain. What do you have to lose? Visit Noom.com/JTrain to start your trial today. Again, that's Noom.com/JTrain and start losing weight for good. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. Here with Juliet Littman, host of Bachelor Party, Ring or Dish. Go follow, go get involved. The Bachelor Party podcast, a great addition to your Bachelor watching. Go get involved. Okay, so I actually got an update to an email that I sent to you that I'm going to send it to you right now. Is that okay?
Wonderful. I love a real-time news break.
Literally just came in, and it's screenshots. I love that email with screenshots. It adds to the whole flavor of this thing. We'll post it on the video. I think we got to... did you get the email that I just forwarded you?
Not yet. Just open my email, though. I just want to note, as I wait for it, I think reading screenshots of text messages is like the most exciting reading material you could get. It's such a voyeuristic, wonderful experience.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that you say that because this is part of kind of what I've been doing for a long time. We do this thing on the U Up podcast, my other podcast called The Deal Reveal, where again, I agree. The word you used is perfect. Voyeuristic is the word. Also, all of us have written similar texts, and you don't know how they sound until you hear them out loud.
Yeah.
So, and I think like when you write LOL to like save yourself and you're not really laughing and you're just showing vulnerability, that is like a new age way of speaking that we're all doing, but never really air outside. So it's fun to laugh at a little bit.
I totally agree. Also, there's so many differences between how people indicate like laughter and humor. Like there's a capital LOL, all caps LOL, just a capital L, lowercase OL, and then all small caps LOL. It's just all very different.
Ha with an exclamation point.
Yeah.
That's my, I totally understand. But did you get the email that I sent?
Yes, I have it.
Okay. So this is called X has had 3 rebound relationships in less than 2 years. Okay.
I'm ready.
Jared, I was recently dumped back in the beginning of September. He claimed we were breaking up because he felt things weren't the same for us since we went into lockdown in different states back in the beginning of March. Now to the point. I was technically a rebound. I started seeing my ex about a month after he was dumped by a girl who he had dated for 10 months. He had started dating this girl a couple weeks after ending a 4-year-long relationship. My ex and I dated for about 9 months until he decided to end things with me, no warning. We had not once discussed the reason he stated for breaking up prior to the breakup. This weekend, I saw on Snapchat that he had posted a video with a girl with the caption saying they were on a second date. That's already a little weird. Like, yeah. I to post I'm on second date, it's to me that says something, but we'll keep going. I was hurt by this because during a relationship, I don't think he ever posted me on his Snapchat story, and we also broke up about 6 weeks ago. So my question is, why do people do this? How can people jump out of committed relationships and soon after jump into a new one? I deleted him on all social media and blocked his phone number after sending an angry and admittedly childish text, but I'm still hurting and would like some insight into what the hell is going on through this man's head. I've been a listener since 2016. I would love it if you could answer my questions. Sincerely, a very angry and confused ex-girlfriend. So here's the update. She sent screenshots. Okay. Juliet, do we want to talk this out first, or do you want to read do you want to do a theaterized reading of these texts first?
Whatever you prefer.
So let's do a reading. I'll be the guy, you be the woman in this situation. Does that sound good?
Yes, great.
Okay. I always will put myself in the position of the devil himself. So let's okay. I feel the same. It made me sad though. It's just so impersonal and superficial.
Have you ever considered just being completely alone, not in pursuit of a new relationship or clinging to an old one? I think in our relationship, you truly didn't want to be in it, and that might have had something to do with you never being alone.
I've definitely considered it, and I'm still trying to be alone, but I'm sure you understand that especially now everything feels so lonely. Let me read that again for how he wrote it. I've definitely considered it, and I'm still trying to be alone, but I'm sure you understand that especially now everything feels so lonely. Like, I've called my mom every day now, and although I'm glad I can, it's just not the same as talking to someone our age. I mean, this guy, he's pulling out all the stops. Okay.
Friends, from what I could see from our relationship, is that you're not willing to make enough time for someone else. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I've got a lot of thoughts.
Oh, we have another text here.
Oh, sorry.
Keep it going.
Have your parents said anything bad about me? That's crazy. Sorry, carry on.
How do you mean? And nah, they haven't. I think they were sad, but they applauded our maturity.
You acted like it was a burden to spend time with me. You never wanted to do anything fun together. You weren't around enough to listen and support me. Why were they sad?
I got you. He wrote got you and just trying to get through this at this point. I'm sorry about that. And I do think you're right. I don't feel like I can invest that much time in anyone right now, and I'm sorry that negatively affected you. They were sad because we broke up when nothing was glaringly wrong.
I think it might have been like that the whole relationship.
Okay, so
I've got notes.
Did we read it backwards? No, that was in the right order. Let's hear what you have to say, Juliet. What do you think? Are you in a relationship now? You currently?
I'm not. No, I'm not.
So you're out here. You're single.
Just on these streets.
On these streets. So what do you think? What's your perspective?
This is a dude who will not be alone because he can't be alone and is not interested in being alone. Yeah. And moreover, a hard fact about dating is that guys, it's just like not that complicated. They're either into you or they're not. And when they're not, they just move on. And to her earlier question about how can someone just jump from relationship to relationship, it's because it's not emotional for him. It's just like filling time. And that sucks. But however, I want your listeners to know when you come to terms with this, it makes dating a lot easier. Also got to move on yourself. Yeah,
right now she's trying to play like Monday morning quarterback with him and trying to figure this out through him. It's never going to be figured out through him. Because, I mean, his answer, there's one specific answer that he gives is like, no, they weren't. They were sad, but applauded our maturity. No.
They definitely did.
Yeah, they didn't applaud our maturity. You seem mature, but the way he gets with women isn't mature.
Yeah.
The way he like flirts and the way he courts women is via being in a relationship. He is courting you while in the relationship, gets you, and then releases you on his schedule.
This reminds me of someone who I was just completely fixated on. And so I feel for this nice woman as well. Mm-hmm. This guy is also clearly a liar. Like he's just making stuff up. Like there's a lot of non-factual information here. And to your point about Snapchatting second date, one might think that's because he's really into this girl.
No,
it means nothing to him. So he's just like, yeah, sure, I'll Snapchat it. What's the difference? She'll be gone in a few days. I don't care.
Well, that's how he gets women. He does relationship things early on, and that's the emotional game for him, is getting the woman to be into him enough to be in a relationship. He gets the relationship, he lets it go, and he moves on to the next thing. So he broke up with you probably 2 weeks to a month before it ended.
Probably.
In his mind. So the reason he's so kind of surgical in this text is because, again, like you said, the emotional thing is not there for him. He is over it. He is done with it. The emotional thing for him was getting you. And I know this all sounds evil and like plotted, but I think this guy is working through. And again, the reason people go from relationship to relationship is they're using other people to go through their own shit.
Yeah.
So they're using someone else to go through their loneliness. They're using someone else to go through, where their own personal stuff. It's a form of it's almost like you're a part of their therapy, which sucks.
Totally.
I see why she's sitting here being like, explain to me what happened. I need explanations. But his explanations are all kind of sales jobs.
Well, another problem with this dude, he's smart. He's no dummy. So he's
no dummy, yeah.
And so he is feeding answers that indicate some kind of emotional depth, but it's just performative. He doesn't have it. Yeah. Just move on, girl. I know it's hard, but don't get hung up on these other girls on Snapchat. They won't be sticking around. You'll know he's really into someone when he does not post about them for a long time.
Yeah, because then it becomes a hard thing to undress at that point. He knows that the harder it is done. Yeah, it's, I'm with you. Listen, I feel bad because this happens. This isn't a surprise. This is
very familiar to me. Very familiar. I lost many years of my life to situations like this.
and it's familiar to see someone come back for answers. And it's like you've gone to the liar for more lies.
Yeah. He can't explain it to you. This person is not he's not okay, today I'm going to make this girl feel bad because I've decided to. It's just a pathological behavior that he can't get out of because he's immature, as you said.
Well, also, it's like Ponzi scheme, right?
Sure.
He's again, so back to like, I try to give people redemption here on this show because I know he didn't plot this out.
No, he did not.
But he's every moment along the way, he's just taking the old money and putting it toward, like he's finding new investors and trying to keep the Ponzi scheme alive long enough until it comes crashing down because he's like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. And I found someone else on Tinder who's willing to go out in a week, and I got to end this before I go on that Tinder date.
He's busy. He got a full dance card.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Juliet Littman. Juliet Littman, host of Bachelor Party, Ring or Dish. Go get involved. Go listen. Let's do another one. We got some time?
Yeah, I'd love to.
We got more. Let's go. This has been really nice. I'm happy you came on.
Thank you.
COVID made my boyfriend dumb. I don't think it was COVID, but we'll find out. Dear Jared, Feather, I love your podcast, all the laughs you're serving up. You've really helped lighten the mood for me after a long day at work. I've told all my friends, coworkers to listen to the show, so please keep it up. Here's my issue. I'm extremely upset with my boyfriend for not trying to keep himself safe from coronavirus. We've been dating long distance for about a year and went to go see your show when you came to Dallas.
Dope.
This is amazing.
Nice.
Awesome show. We had a lot of laughs and really loved your city riffs. So his roommate's girlfriend got COVID. And tested positive last Wednesday. She was around her boyfriend and my boyfriend and was around him before he went out of town on Wednesday. So my boyfriend finds out Thursday that she tested positive and decides to quarantine. But then the roommate gets back in town and they hang out Friday and watch movies, even though my boyfriend knew his roommate had been exposed by the girlfriend. He also hung out with
It's hard to follow these logistics.
I know. I'm with you. I'm like, I feel like we need one of those tack boards.
We need a flow chart. Yeah.
Yeah. We need like the red string. We got to like find the murderer.
Carrie Matheson board.
We'll go back through it, but let's go through the email first, and then we'll try and figure that out. He also hung out with his roommate on Saturday before he went to get tested. His roommate came back positive, and my boyfriend then just automatically assumed he has it. Oh, okay. So this is in line with there's a lot of people making rationalizations to make themselves the good guy in this COVID world. I'm sure you're seeing that a lot.
Of course, yeah.
So I understand how he's coming to these conclusions, even though I disagree with the conclusions. My boyfriend starts feeling cold symptoms on Saturday and tells me he's not going to get tested just yet. Problem is, he's supposed to come visit me this Friday, and we are supposed to go on a 4-day road trip on Wednesday. By the way, I work in healthcare and will have to stop working if I get sick. I'm upset with him for not staying away from his roommate for 24 hours until they both could get tested. His reasoning, if that they live in a small apartment and he didn't want to just stay cooped up in his room. Also, he says because they were around each other Monday and Tuesday that he has a reason to assume that he got infected then. Do I have a right to be upset with him? I know I can't go back and change anything, but I wish that he would have thought it through and considered the future, such as having to quarantine for 10 days and not being able to come visit. Long distance has been really hard with a 5-hour drive between, and I haven't seen him in weeks. Why can't I understand this stupid decision? Thanks for all you do. Sincerely, Dummer's girlfriend. So what do you think, Juliet Littman?
Here's my first note, and I don't want to assume too much about this couple, but
sure.
I think staying 5 hours apart, if you're both like working from home or if you're largely at home, is kind of weird. Like, it's kind of the time to move in together or move closer to each other, at least part of the time. I don't want to assume too much, and I don't want to make anyone feel bad, but that was kind of my first question is like, why are you guys still 5 hours apart? And, you know, maybe they're essential workers, or maybe they have jobs where they have to go to work. Like, who or maybe they just don't want to do that. There's plenty of reasons, but
it sounds like she is an essential worker, considering her job in healthcare. She's in healthcare.
Good point.
But I agree with your point as far as it, and also he might not be working from home because after being in Dallas, that is one of those states in Europe.
Different rules.
Different rules.
You're right. I'm bringing too many assumptions to this, but that was my first question.
I think your assumptions are warranted. I think there's is this couple for real? Like, does he take this seriously? So, like, I'm with you as far as, like, if he didn't think of your road trip, is that emblematic of how he thinks of the relationship? Is this casual to him, is it as, because I agree with you. In the beginning of this whole thing, it's like you were with someone, they either broke up with you, they either moved in with you, or they went home to mom and dad because
they didn't want to be near you.
Yeah, and they're still children. Like, I do think there's a divide, and I guess a different version of me would have gone to my parents' house when this all started.
Sure. And I'll just say, I did go to New York, where my family is. However, did not live with my parents at any time.
Okay. I mean, but you didn't live with your parents at any time. Like there's another, I think there's been, and I said this in the beginning of quarantine, where it's like, there are people that like grew up, forced growing up, and there are people that were like, goodbye, I'll be on the next train out.
Yeah, actually, I've been wondering about the Lower East Side. I've heard you can get a great deal on rent there right now. Right now, I can show you on the camera the many empty apartments in my building. I feel like that's like where like the 28-year-old woman fled. Like they were all living in the Lower East Side. A lot of them were from California, and they all went back.
I think you're right, and New York is in this weird place. I was just in Portland, Oregon, where it's like, the New York is dead story. The Portland, Oregon is a war zone. It's like, no,
neither is true.
Neither is true. And it's like, it's funny because you'll go out on Broome Street. Broome Street is like Mardi Gras. And then you go to Delancey Street and it's a little bit shittier there. It's not as nice as it was a year ago. So like, it's this weird world of like, of gray that doesn't live on the internet, as you know. There's only I love and I hate. So totally. But to this person's point, to all the assumptions we can make, I think she has to ask herself these questions.
Yeah. Like, what is he doing? Seriously, what is he doing?
What is he doing? And I'm appreciative that they came to my show, but also, you came to the show. Were you in masks the whole time? Like, again, like, if your COVID energy isn't matching your partner's COVID energy, or if your past COVID energy isn't matching the current COVID, like, I can understand where he's like, all of the things he did, like, I can understand to let him off the hook. I've been told my girlfriend we're going out to dinner on Tuesday, and then she'll be like, what's the plan? I'll be like, dinner. And I can understand, and then she'll go, well, where's the plan? What did you do? Like, you're making this night feel not special. And she's right, I'm wrong in that scenario.
Right.
In the road trip scenario, I could see where he's like, I'm working, road trip. And then there is no thought put into the planning ahead that has to be done with these new times.
Right.
So
that's what's hard about COVID. Everything is like got a plan for. The other thing about COVID though is like everyone has different levels of comfort. Sure. And like you got to get on the same page. I went on one random date and the guy had like taken the subway, and this was like in June. I was like, what are you talking about? You took the subway? It's like, no, that's not a thing we're doing yet.
Yeah. And listen, like, I think that those COVID energies are a part of the dating process. Like, you probably walked away from that date going, we're probably not a match.
Yeah, we weren't.
But that's part of the resume of dating. I think of course she has a right. She asked if she has a right to be mad. You always have a right to be mad. I can't tell you how to feel. We can't tell you. I can say the assumptions that Juliet you brought up are important for her to ask herself.
Yeah.
I think like this is emblematic, and as with a lot of COVID stuff, it is the highlighter of the bad in life and in dating and in relationships that should be spoken about.
Yeah, of course. Got to get it out there. I feel like COVID is a time to have feelings, just like anything goes in COVID.
I'm with you. We are sponsored, people. Bubs Naturals. What do bell bottoms, BMX bikes, and Beanie Babies have in common? They got big, and then for the most part, they went away. Because that's what fads do. They come and go. Fads are fun, but when it comes to nutrition, you need facts, not fads. Fact. Collagen is the single most abundant protein in your body. It holds everything together, from bones, muscles, and tendons to hair, skin, nails, and even your GI tract. But once you hit your mid-20s, collagen production slows. Signs of aging, lines and wrinkles, decreased mobility, and slower recovery all stem from less collagen in the body. You probably aren't getting nearly as much collagen as your body needs to replenish. So if you want to slow down the aging process, Bubs Natural is the way to go. Listen, I'm using Bubs Naturals. I love it. I put it in my coffee every morning. It tastes pretty good. It's not like a, I don't think it really has a taste to it, but it makes my coffee a little bit more silky smooth. But also, it feels good to be replenishing the collagen in my body. Collagen has been shown to promote vitality, improve recovery, and facilitate faster healing. Your joints will thank you too. Collagen contains glycine, which boosts your ability to bend and flex pain-free. Bubs is also 100% sustainably sourced, grass-fed, pasture-raised peptides, Whole30 approved, NSF certified for sport, keto and paleo-friendly, and GMO-free. No flavors, fillers, or impurities, nothing more or less than the best collagen out there. Bubs was founded in honor of a fallen hero, Glenn Bub Doherty, who was killed in action in Benghazi, Libya. And in his honor, 10% of every Bubs natural sales goes to charity. So you'll feel great while doing good. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code JTRAIN at bubsnaturals.com. That's 20% off with promo code JTRAIN at bubsnaturals.com. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. Let's do one more. Is that okay with you, Juliet?
Let's hit it.
Okay, cool. At Go Bachelor Party Podcast, Ringer Dish. Go follow, get involved. We'll do another screenshot one.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Love a screenshot. Yes.
I sent it to you before.
Okay. I'm pulling it up.
Pull it up. It's called Am I the Exception of Sleeping with My Ex? Okay. Dear Jared, I love all your content. Also, I really respect your outlook on dating, so I am very much looking forward to hearing your opinion on my situation. Let's see it. I met my boyfriend on Hinge back in May. At the time, I was living in my parents' house due to the pandemic and had no social life. He had many friends in the area, so I leaned on him quite a bit. Our relationship was plagued with the we're at different stages syndrome. I constantly wanted things to move quicker than him. This caused many stressful conversations, but we both really liked each other as people and had a ton of fun together. Not without effort, in 4 months, I ended up meeting his whole family, all his friends, and built a real emotional connection. I was his first girlfriend who has done all of this. Fast forward. I moved to the city and now live with 2 of my best friends and have a completely renewed social life. About 2 weeks after my move, I broke up with him because it felt like he was not on my side, pushing me away, and I wanted something that felt more cohesive. Then I had the post-breakup regret, asking it to take it back. He said it was the right thing to do and he really wasn't ready for a relationship. He said it was the right thing to do and he wasn't ready for a relationship. So now we have been spending some time together. He'll come over, we'll hang out, goof around, have sex, cuddle, get breakfast, call each other babe, and it feels so normal. I can tell he really misses the connection we built. I also feel all the stress from the relationship disappeared. I think a lot of our issues came from the fact that we were constantly moving at my pace. Do you think if we were to continue hanging out while me being more independent, that there's any chance we could have a different relationship? I don't want to put all my eggs in this basket. So for now, I plan on going out with the possibility of meeting people, but also I don't want to throw him away. So she sent an update. And it's just a text between them two that happened. And I guess this is to give us a taste of what's going on in this relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Let's read it.
Sure.
Okay, I'll be him, you be her.
Sure.
Yeah.
Late tie? Oh, sorry.
Okay. Start over. You go first. You're right. It starts there.
Late tie?
I have too much to do. And then 4 hours later, just wanted to say thank you for having me, and I'm thinking of you. And I know what you want in the end, and even if it's not what I want you to know I'm laying here thinking of you.
This man is trouble. I would say stay away.
Oy, brutal. That was a text that was like, it's a read between the lines text that tells you exactly where he is and what he wants this to be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
He doesn't want it to be anything more. He's not looking for a relationship, and I would say just end this, break this off now. It's not going to go well for you otherwise. I'm worried about you, and I don't want you to get hurt, so you should end it now.
I know, and she's going to get hurt because the things she would have to do are very difficult. And there's a way out of this, but it is a maze of that's not human. Like she's human emotion. It's easy for us to look at this and go, ain't gonna happen with this dude, okay? Because what he's saying, just want to say thank you for having me. I'm thinking of you, and I know that what you want in the end, and even if it's not what I want. He just said, I don't want to be in a relationship with you beyond the one I'm doing now. I want to be thinking of you, not in my bed, while you're in your bed, and we can wake up and have our own lives. That's what I want. That's what he's saying in that text. But what she asks is, I plan on going on with the... do you think if we were to continue hanging out while being more independent, that there's any chance we could have a different relationship? She's basically saying, if I live below my standards, will I get to the standards I want? Right. And the answer to that is no.
No. There's just I think one thing that sucks about dating is that so many of the cliches and so many of the things that your friends tell you when you're really upset about a guy are actually true. Often they're saying them to be nice, but it is kind of true. If a guy wants to hang out with you and wants to date you, he will. And so it's really hard and to trick someone into it. Not impossible. Definitely can make that work, but it takes a lot of time and usually a lot of hurdles. And I just don't know if it's worth the time with this guy because he seems a little manipulative to me.
Yeah, and he's never going to be honest. The manipulation is the problem because she did exactly what you have to do to get out of casual zone. She said, let's do Thai late at night. Yes. That is a boyfriend-girlfriend thing. That is a verbal contract that you're signing, and he said no to the verbal contract.
Yeah. If you try to engineer hanging out at one of your places after the hour of 9 p.m. and it's a no, then that's a wrap on the whole thing. You just got to move on.
Well, that's the thing. She has to, if you want to come back to someone that you couldn't figure it out with, I'm fine with that. I'm not going to tell someone that they're stupid for doing that. If you're enjoying the physical relationship, and what she said is true.
If she likes what they have, go for it.
Yeah, and what she's saying, she goes, I can tell that he'll come out, goof around. I also I can tell he really misses the connection we built. He misses the easy hangout. He misses of everyone. I've said this when I was single. If you're in a relationship, I envy you on a Sunday morning and I pity you on a Saturday night. That is a very big vibe for a lot of these guys, where it's he wants to be able to be out on a Saturday night, but he wants to be able to have you when he's at his loneliness. And listen, you're doing that right now, but when you say late Thai and all he says is, I have too much to do, that is him saying, now, that is too much for me. That's
Don't
my
push
line.
It. Yeah.
Don't push it. So you have to, this person, if you want, just because you have done doesn't mean you will do. Yeah. So just because you went over and did the late nights and had fun, that's okay. I'm thinking, good for you. Get yours. If that made you feel better, good for you. But no, you ask for late Thai. Every time he doesn't do that, that's him going, I do not want to be in this new version of the relationship. Yeah. And at some point, you have to stop doing the stuff you don't want to do to get the stuff you do want to do. Yeah,
totally. And also, just to reiterate what you said, if she's enjoying this casual relationship, keep doing it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. It sounds pretty great, especially for COVID. But if you want something more, then it's not going to happen. Probably should just hit the eject button.
Just be honest about what it is with yourself. And also, she's asking the question that she wants the answer to, and we're giving her the answer. He is saying what this is. So if you think repeating this process of going over and hanging out and having the fun time that you both feel good about, it's going to feel good. It's going to be like junk food. It's going to feel good, but it won't fill you up. And I think know that. Keep going with it as long as you know it. But if you think this is the way to get him to your side of things,
it's not going to work out.
It's not going to work out.
Very difficult proposition.
It's tough. Again, you have to erase the human emotional element, but it's jtrainpodcast@gmail.com, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Juliet Lippman, this was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was great. And I love when people care about my opinion. So this was really fun for me as well.
That's what it's all about. We're talking out of our ass, and nobody's an expert here. But we're saying, I think the important part of this podcast is that we're like, we have no connection to these people, so we have no reason.
Honest opinion.
Yeah. So everyone go listen to Juliet's podcast, Batch Party, Ring or Dish, go, go, go. I'm Jared Freid. We're here every Monday and Thursday. We will be back next episode. Boom. Don't forget to like the video you just watched. I have many more. Subscribe to the channel right now. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe, you fool. There's even a bell you can click to. Now you've got your week set Monday through Friday. I'm here for you.